Hello, Fox. This is Ajay Kumar, and today we are back with another podcast. So, the title for today's podcast will be Data Visualization using Aurora, which is Amazon's tool. Today, we have our special speaker, Varsha Agrawal, who is a very talented undergraduate student, and she has done amazing work during her bachelor's. She has participated in IBM's 2020 challenge, and she has very good experience in Python. She has, and also she did internship at Microsoft. So let's go to Varsha. So Varsha, stage is all yours. You can start.
Hello everyone, my name is Varchisa Agrawal and I have done my BTech from Uttar Pradesh Technical University, basically from RD Engineering College in BTech in Computer Science. And I have built many projects like sentiment analysis of COVID-19 tweets, and in my final year I have worked upon disease prediction using machine learning. Furthermore, I have worked upon many projects of Flask like information aggregator and many more projects you can find in my GitHub repo for other references. Currently, I'm working in TCS. I have joined TCS 2 months back, and here I'm working upon the big data technologies like Hive and Scoop. I would like to thank DeepLearning.ai, Dr. NUNG, and Ajay Kumar for inviting me as a speaker at their Pi and AI event. I would like to welcome all the brilliant minds out here to gain some knowledge on data visualization Aurora. Today's topics to be discussed are data visualization, who recognized it, and what is the origination of it, principles of data visualization tools and techniques, and what is the future of it. Let's discuss about what is data visualization. Data visualization tools are of great importance in the analytics industry as they give us a clear idea of complex data involved. It derives useful patterns and insights from the data for more computations. This is useful in analyzing users' interest. Python is one of the most popular languages for visualization with its variety of tools. We'll do the implementation of graphs and visualizations using Python, and its latest visualization tools are Matplotlib and Seaborn. I will tell you more about its tools and technologies, but let's first discuss about from where it is originated and who recognized it. Back in the 17th century, data visualizations came into existence by displaying land markets, cities, markets, etc. William Playfair, who is widely considered as an inventor of many popular graphs we use today like line, bar, circle, and pie charts. The golden age of statistical graphics comes during the era of 18th century, which was filled with patriotic wars. It was Charles Joseph who recorded this remarkable war of Napoleon's march and retreat with the most magnificent visualization ever. This time also provided us with the new visualization called the Rose chart, created by Florence Nightingale. Some of you are wondering that what is a Rose chart? As discussed above, this chart was famously used by statistician and medical reformer Florence Nightingale to communicate the avoidable deaths of soldiers during the Crimean War. It can compare multiple sets of data, and hence lots of data can be put on one graph. Individual variables within the diagram can be compared. It can find multiple insights from one graph, but it is not used in new age data visualizations. The reason behind is that can be wrongly interpreted, and the insights driven from it are not 100% correct. That is why it is not used by industries. Coming toward its principle, Edward Tufts stated some of the principles on data visualization. The first principle is graphical integrity. It is the visual representation of data that must convey the truth. You may then identify the aspects that you wish to visualize along with the information that you wish to convey. It can be measured using the lie factor. Now comes balance the design. This refers to equally distributed visual elements across the plot, such as texture, color, shape, and negative space. You may select visual to be asymmetrical, symmetrical, or radial, depending upon your choice, and figure out the right balance of elements that work for visualizing your data and helps in deriving insights from it. Now comes focus on the key areas. Ensure that the key areas are well highlighted. You may place key data points towards the top left corner as a user's attention is generally drawn towards the quadrant. Now comes keep it simple. As suggested, keep your plots as simple as possible. Ensure that your visuals are simple and easy to understand. Adding unwanted information may make it confusing, which defeats the purpose of data visualization. Keeping in mind that the ultimate goal of data visualization is simplicity, you may build additional visuals if you wish to convey a multifaceted story. Now comes use patterns. You can use different type of patterns. You may display similar types of information like one with the help of patterns. You may establish a pattern by using similar charts, types, colors, or any other element. It is suggested to use patterns because the users can simply identify the insights and derive from it easily. Certain aspects. You may display a side-by-side comparison of aspects to make it understanding the data easier. You may also align data either horizontally or vertically so that it can be compared accurately. Now the last principle is incorporate interactivity. You may deploy data visualization tools that infuse interactivity into your graphs or charts. However, ensure that this does not confuse the target audience since the main purpose is to clarify doubts or queries. Coming towards the next topic, that is data visualization tools. It offers a great range of tools for handling massive emerging data sets. Some tools also enable us to work with some database technologies like Hadoop, SAP, Teradata. It also handles multiple data or a large amount of data. Isn't it interesting that data visualization tools enable plotting of graphs as well as work with massive data like Hadoop and SAP, etc. Let's have a look towards its tools. Its popular tools are Tableau, ClipView, Fusion Charts, Dash and Plotly, Sisense, and so more. Even I have used Dash and Plotly. When I was implementing sentiment analysis of COVID-19 tweets, it's a great tool. It enables us to integrate our plots with web development. You can read more about Dash and Plotly from my Medium article, and there you can find the related GitHub code links. Now the question is, which tool is efficient? Both Tableau and ClipView are most recommended tools for data visualization, but what is the difference between them? Tableau is well suited for handling massive and emerging datasets. Moreover, it is used in big data operations and artificial intelligence and machine learning operations. On the other hand, ClipView provides a clean and interactive UI. It also provides powerful business operations, analytics, etc. It also provides a package called FlickSense to its users for data handling and data discovery. You know what? Many organizations use data visualizations in order to derive insights from the data. I will give you some information on how huge organizations use data visualizations. Google uses data visualization in Google Analytics. It collects how many users have visited your website in a meantime and how much traffic is coming on your website and display a data visualization chart on your console. I have even used it when I was creating my online portfolio. I thought to integrate it in my portfolio to keep track of the traffic. It also keeps track of how many people visited my portfolio in the last 7 days or 21 days or even more. Microsoft builds My Analytics dashboard for its users. Open to the home page that shows you statistics about your work patterns over the past month, including your focus and collaboration time, how many days you were able to disconnect from network, and how effectively you are networking with your coworkers. In fact, researchers at Pennsylvania School of Medicine indicate that the human retina can transmit data at roughly 10 million bits per second. Can you imagine how millions of data is being generated from our human retina? Let us march towards the next destination, data visualization techniques. There are many techniques like swarm plots, variant plots, pair plot, line, stack bar plots, and even more. For implementation of plots using data visualization, it requires some of the Python libraries that you need to install. For example, Pandas, NumPy, Seaborn, and Matplotlib. You must have heard about NumPy. Let me tell you a little bit about it. Pandas, a Python library used for data analysis and data manipulation tool. NumPy is mainly used for numerical computation of datasets. It is fast and versatile. In NumPy, vectorization, indexing, and broadcasting concepts are the de facto standards of array computing today, and hence helps in faster computation of arrays or data. You can also view my GitHub repo for the implementation of NumPy, Pandas, and visualization. And in the visualization, you can find all the implementation of the plots. Here are the links, and it will be shared in the description box for your future reference. Let me show you a quick demonstration of swarm plot and distribution plot. For the implementation of swarm plot, first we will have to import the required libraries like Pandas, NumPy, and Seaborn. We will be taking the diamonds dataset. For this, we have to load it using Seaborn. We are taking the caret column of diamonds dataset and the sample of 1000 rows. Install. Now we can see the graph here. Swarm plot is basically a collection of things. So what it does, x-axis is caret and each dot is representing the value. Let us take the price column of the diamonds dataset and let's see how it visualized. We will be taking the sample of 100 rows of price column. Can you see the demonstration of it? Here each dot represents the price of the diamond. Moving towards the next distribution, that is joint distribution. For this, we will be taking a normal distribution of size 1000. A random normal distribution of size 1000. And the y-axis will be having again the random normal distribution of size 1000. Now we will plot these x and y in the graph. First, we will have to put the data in a data frame. The data y will be representing to y-axis and the data x will be representing to x-axis. And plotting this data frame into the joint plot. And the data will be used here is DS. Our data frame, we have created this below. In this graph, we are having a joint distribution of values on the x and y axis. We can see here that this is a dotted distribution. What if we will implement it using a KDE type of distribution? data will be used here is as df we have used before, and the plot will be of kde plot, kde type. Hmm. You can see here the values are being represented in the form of a color. The color goes from more required Sequon for implementing visualizations. It is such that both libraries are having pros and cons. Let's have a look towards its differences on the basis of functionality. Matplotlib is mainly deployed for basic plotting. Visualization using Matplotlib generally consists of bars, pies, lines, and scatter plots, and so on. Seaborn, on the other hand, provides a variety of visualization patterns. It uses fewer syntax and has easily interesting default themes on the basis of multiple figures. Matplotlib has multiple figures that can be opened but need to close explicitly. Seaborn automates the creation of multiple figures. This sometimes leads to out-of-memory issues. Now the next difference is on the basis of visualization. Matplotlib is a graphics package for data visualization and package, as we have discussed before. It is well integrated with pandas and numpy. The pyplot module of Matplotlib mirrors the MATLAB plotting commands closely, and hence MATLAB users can easily transmit the plotting with Python. On the other hand, Seaborn is more integrated for working with pandas data frames. It extends the Matplotlib library for creating beautiful graphics with Python using a straightforward set of methods. Next difference is on the basis of data frames. Matplotlib works with data frames and arrays. It has different stateful APIs for plotting. Seaborn works with dataset as a whole and is much more intuitive than Matplotlib. And as we see in the implementation of swarmplot and joint plots, Seaborn also have a inbuilt datasets. Now the next difference is on the basis of flexibility. Matplotlib is highly customizable and powerful. Seaborn avoids a tons of boilerplate by avoiding default themes which are commonly used. Now the question is which one you should use. Both are the popular visualization tools used in Python. Have differences in use cases, scalability, and many other things. Based on these, one should select the best visualization tool for a particular work. If you are doing statistics, then Seaborn is a good choice because it has a lot of things suitable for statistical tasks built in. Moving towards the last topic, that is future of data visualization. A heat map is a unique two-dimensional display of data, in which values are represented in the form of colors. In this, each and every value is visualized by warm to cool color scheme, and warm colors are representing high-value data points, and the cool colors are representing low-value data points. Don't worry, we'll see in the next demonstration of heat map. Now, in the world of online business, heat maps are used to visualize visitor behavior data so that business owners, marketers, and UX designers can identify the best performing sections of a web page based on visitor interaction. Let's see a quick YouTube video, and after this, we will be heading towards the demonstration of heat map.
Welcome to the Agencia Business Travel Academy. What is data visualization? Data is a hot topic. People buy and wear a t-shirt saying data nerd or data is the new bacon. True story. You can check it out online. With the digitalization era, data went from scarce, expensive, difficult to find and collect to abundant and cheap, very difficult to process and understand. That's when the concept of big data emerged. Incredible amounts of information, so vast that they were challenging to capture, store, understand, and analyze with traditional software. However, all of this material is only as good as what we can make out of it, as individuals and businesses. Terabytes of data sitting in a data center unused is a burden. If correctly processed, it can become digital gold. Big data is often combined with machine learning to create predictive analytics or other analytics processes that bring the value of the information to light. Still, if you do not own a PhD in data science, the raw details can remain obscure. That's where data visualization comes into play. Data visualization is the process of taking raw data, transforming it into graphs, charts, images, and even videos that explain the numbers and allow us to gain insights from it. It changes the way we make sense of the information to create value out of it, discover new patterns, and spot trends. Think about a simple example. How do you create a story to tell your boss out of thousands of rows of data in an Excel spreadsheet? An easy way is to create a chart, like a pie or a bar chart, of that same data. Now you have a visual representation and can start analyzing and integrating it into your business, giving meaning and purpose to the original raw data. In the business travel industry, data visualization truly empowers travel managers and reporting users by providing clear and actionable insights into their programs. A data-driven program brings value to all stakeholders, from the finance controller to the security manager and the HR manager to travelers themselves. It allows for better control and prediction of travel spend and increases traveler security and satisfaction. Imagine if you could get a visual representation of your past, current, and future travel spend to show to your CFO, or if you could visualize the impacts of each change you make to your travel policies or negotiated rates. What about if you could see where your travelers are frequently disrupted and what would be better alternatives? The possibilities are endless, and data visualization can keep you ahead.
Now we are having a full demonstration of how heat maps are visualized. A heat map consists of discrete variables on both axes. Let us take a matrix of 10 by 10. For this implementation of heat map. As we have imported all the libraries of NumPy, Pandas and Seaborn, we do not have to import it again. We will be taking a random matrix of 10 by 10 using the NumPy module. Now let's see what this contains. It contains a 10 by 10 matrix and the random values that comes across between 0 to 1. Now let's plot our heat map using this variable x. You can see the graph or the visualization here. So what it does, it takes 0 to 9 indices on x and y axis respectively. It takes every cell and it plots a color according to this value, and we are having a color bar here, values ranging from 0 to 1, and you can see the value of this color is ranging here. So we can say that the value of this color will be approximate to 1, and if we take another value like this one, and we are having this we are having the value ranging from 0. Basically, in the heat map, we are using colors to represent the values. For more clarifications, you can refer to my GitHub repo for more visualizations on heat map. Also, the links I have referred you in this session will be in the description box for your future reference. If you have any queries, feel free to ask me. You can reach to me using these links below, either on my online portfolio or GitHub or Medium or LinkedIn. You can ask me any of the query anytime. Thank you and have a nice day.